Dragi gledatelji i slušatelji Prodajnog Mindseta, lijep pozdrav i dobrodošli u još jednu epizodu Prodajnog Mindseta. Ovo je specijal. Najava gosta. 1.200.000 followera na LinkedInu, kumulativno kad zbrojimo. 150 milijuna impresija godišnje. 4 knjige su iza njega. I nedavno je odabran kao LinkedIn Top Voice. Za sebe kaže da je introvert, a mi znamo o njemu da se zove Daniel Disney. I'll switch to English now. So, I hope you did not understand how I introduced you.
I recognize the numbers.
Okay. You recognize the numbers?
Not the words, only because we just spoke about them.
Yeah, but I didn't increase them. I just said it as it is. Because they are impressive.
Oh, thank you.
They are impressive. How the hell did you get to those numbers?
A lot of hard work, a lot of hours, and a lot of persistence.
How many years?
I started posting every day from 2015. So that's 10 years now. I think I got to the 1 million followers after 5 or 6 years. Yeah. And then it's steadily growing since
But
then.
did it slow down after that, or?
It slowed down a bit this year, but it generally grew by 100,000 a year.
Mm-hmm. 100,000 a year. Wow.
But that's social media. The algorithms change. And that's probably one of the biggest things I learned is that each year the algorithm on any social network will push something different. Mm-hmm. And if you adapt quickly, you benefit from that wave. So when LinkedIn first introduced video, which might have been 2018, not many people did it because they didn't know how, they were scared. Because I jumped in quickly and started putting videos, I gained 30, 40,000 followers in the first month because everyone loved it, because there was more engagement, the algorithm pushed it. So one of the things I learned is that being quick to adapt and adapt to the change really helped.
Is it frustrating sometimes?
Very.
What was the most frustrating moment?
It's like playing a game and they change the rules all the time. So just as you get used to playing it and you're getting, and then it's like, no, we're going to change the rules and we want to do something different. This year's been the most frustrating, 2025. The most frustrating on LinkedIn. I think most people are echoing the same thing. Every LinkedIn expert, influencer, it's been difficult. And they've almost gone backwards. We were just talking about it. Motivational quotes, fluffy, emotional posts are getting the most traction. You could write the best sales advice, the biggest secrets to success. But if it's not fluffy, if it's not with the motivational quotes, you're not going to get any engagement.
Fluffy. It's a cool word.
It's a cool word. It describes it well.
I wonder how it will be translated, fluffy. Will they just translate it fluffy, or will they put something? I don't know. I don't know how to translate fluffy to Croatian. If anybody knows, let us know in comments. Okay, so the fluffy stuff is in again, but it was in maybe a few years ago.
Yes.
Huh?
So it's like a roller coaster. Things come in and they disappear and then they come back and then they disappear, and it's ever changing. And that's, you think this year we've got more people on LinkedIn than ever before, and we have more people creating on LinkedIn than ever before. So all these new people are going to like what was good before. Going into this year, LinkedIn it's all going to be video. We're going big on video. There was a video tab added. By March, video tab had disappeared. Video engagement dropped. Rules changed. And then now it's the fluffy stuff. I think they want video to become a big part of the platform. They just haven't figured out how to manage it, I think, as a platform.
And what happened to live?
It's still a thing.
But it kind of disappeared.
Because engagement dropped. I used to do lives and get thousands of people. Now if I do it, you'll struggle to get a few hundred. If LinkedIn doesn't support it, it's hard to get anything from it. So with the live videos as an example, LinkedIn's not supporting it. They're not pushing it, which is the rules of the game, which is why you have to pay close attention to what LinkedIn is pushing and what the audience wants.
But do you actually know in advance what LinkedIn will gonna push?
You don't even know in real time. I mean, LinkedIn doesn't really tell you what they're doing. You just have to see and learn from trial and error. See what other people are doing that's working, see what's working for you, and find something in that mix. But it's kind of like keeping your ear to the ground. You've just got to be attentive, pay attention to what's happening.
So you basically have to monitor your statistics all the time. If you see a drop, then you start digging what's wrong.
Yeah. And this is one of the traps I see people in all parts of life and success. Some people see the drop and they make excuses, or they blame, or they become the victim. You see it right now. Everyone this year, LinkedIn's terrible. Why is LinkedIn doing this to us? You know, why are they not giving us the reach we used to have? And they blame LinkedIn, and they sit and I've seen influencers. I had a call with LinkedIn, a group of 20 influencers. Most of that call was the influencers complaining to LinkedIn, our engagement's down. What are you going to do about it? And I spoke up and said, actually, for most of you, it's because you're just doing the same stuff. You've not adapted. Your audience is probably bored of you repeating the same content, the same message, the same format. And I think as a creator, as a business, as a salesman, you have to adapt to each customer. You have to adapt to each platform, each change, each audience. So I always try not to be...
Mm-hmm. But isn't this, when you say complaining, having a lot of alibis, finding that somebody else is doing something wrong and it influences you, isn't that like a national sport? For everybody, I would say, especially for salespeople.
It is, but it shouldn't be.
It should not be, yeah. But it's sometimes we like to, not sometimes, very often, we like to blame somebody else for our
It's a mindset.
mistakes.
And I personally struggle with that mindset because it holds you back. And I don't want to make excuses. I just want to find solutions. If something's hard, what can I do to fix it? What can I do to overcome it? So yeah, and that's every year. LinkedIn's always been like that. It changes, the rules change. If I sat and blamed LinkedIn, I wouldn't be here today doing what I do.
How often does it happen?
Every year, maybe 2-3 times a year.
2-3 times a year.
Sometimes one big change each year, but there'll always be small little changes, and you have to be quick. And the ones that are quick get the most results. And doing this for 10 years now, growing year and year and year and year, is hard work. I've seen 80% of people, influencers, come and go each year. People that you're like, oh, they're amazing, they're getting all the engagement, and by the end of the year, they're gone.
They just disappear. Did you ever consider quitting?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Not yet. I can take a lot of challenge, but I accept that someday maybe it becomes too much, and maybe it's like, I've had enough of this game. You know, I want to play a different game. But at the moment, I like it. I like the challenge. I like challenging myself, having to grow. At the moment, I'm having to learn new things like video editing, creating different types of video formats. I'm testing different ways of writing. Hooks. Hooks became a thing last year on LinkedIn. That's the first sentence, hooking people in.
I noticed.
So now you have to really think about what you say and how it's structured, and even down to formatting, people liking the writing in different styles, sometimes sort of like descending, the text sort of starts off big and then it gets smaller, and like people are interacting with different formats. And so you and I, we're salespeople. I'm a salesperson. My early career was making cold calls and knocking on doors, and I wasn't trained to be a marketer or a creator of content. So it's a hard skill to learn as a salesperson, those things. That's challenging.
Yeah. Let's go back a few steps. Let's go back to the main question. Who is actually Daniel Disney? Not related.
Not related.
But who are you actually? So your background is sales. But if you go back before you actually became a salesperson, who are you? Who would you say? How would you describe yourself?
As a child, a quiet, introverted, simple boy. Like, my childhood was very, very peaceful. My parents tried to help me open up. They tried to make me go to drama school, and I lasted a week, and tried to get me to learn an instrument or find it, and I just didn't gel with it.
Which instrument?
Oh, I tried double bass,
Okay.
drums, piano, keyboard, guitar, just not in me to do those sort of things. I found my voice in my first job. 16 years old, got a job at a supermarket on the checkouts, on the tills, still quiet. And the sales manager who was selling kitchens in the sort of back corner said, "Oh, do you want to give this a try?" I was like, okay. That was it. That moment just fell in love with selling. The whole idea of sitting with a customer and helping them, understanding, finding ways to help them. And I started designing kitchens. Like, I was 16 years old, families, couples coming in, you draw out their kitchen and it's like, okay, how can we change this? This would be better actually if it's there. I had 3 days training. Here's how you design a kitchen. Here's the components. It wasn't complicated.
It was a program, some sort of.
No, this was back with drawings. This was
Really?
just before it was done on a computer. I sort of just started at that pivoting moment, but I started on big sheets of paper and, you're manually drawing in where everything goes. I loved it. I loved every part of it. And that was a very early indication of who I was becoming. And that was where I changed and became, I'm still an introverted person.
Mm-hmm. I know.
You know.
I know.
Everyone who I work with, if I'm booked to speak, I went to Detroit in the US and we went to a baseball game the night before the conference. No one really knew who I was. And I was just quiet. I was enjoying the baseball. It was just fun. But I'm quiet. I don't feel the need to, And then I got off stage the next day, did my big talk. The guy came up to me and said, "I can't believe that was the guy who was at the baseball game last night." I mean, you've seen it. I'm not, I try to be social. I don't think I'm a horrible person. I just, I don't feel the need to be loud all the time. But when I'm on stage, when I'm with a customer, when I'm doing sales, it just brings out a different side to me.
But would you call it natural behavior, or is it something that you learned over years?
As in the extroverted part, I think it's natural because I don't feel like it's an effort. The first time I ever did a talk, which you saw my first ever talk, 2017, I threw up twice before. I had Uber on my phone 10 minutes before, a taxi ready to take me home because I didn't want to do it. I was about to run away from doing it. I was so scared. I could feel my legs shaking like jelly. After I said 5 words on stage, it all washed away and I loved it. I loved being on stage, an audience, sharing my knowledge, trying to help. I loved that. It took 6 months, a year to get rid of the fear completely. Now, you could say, with no preparation, Dan, there's 1,000 people, go and do a talk, and I could do it.
I remember your first talk. But you said something at the beginning that it was like, this is my first talk, so I don't know how it's going to go or something like that. Yeah, it was, 9 years ago?
Yeah.
9 years ago, yeah. No, amazing. And immediately it was obvious that you were kind of born to do that.
So I think it's a natural thing. Doesn't mean I had to overcome a lot of fear and anxiety, but the actual act of it was so rewarding that it was worth pushing through. And yeah, I think I just knew I loved it and I wanted to do it long term because I was still working in a full-time job back then.
Well, I'm asking you this introvert extrovert because you went to humor at one point. Actually, you
Started with humor.
Yeah, you started with humor. So I was wondering if maybe that was your exit from introversion to extroversion. That humor maybe helped you to go there.
Yeah, I think it did. I was talking earlier, and when I started creating content on LinkedIn, it was tips, and we were trying to help. Like, here's what I learned. Here's 5 ways you can sell better. And it got small traction, and then I share memes and funny stories, and people, they connect with it. It's human, but it's the same when you talk to people. If you can make someone laugh, if you can share a stressful situation that you've both had, and it's like, oh, I remember that, then it builds relationships and it warms up those sort of conversations. And I liked that. So creating humor of the dark sides of sales. So how hard it is making cold calls, how horrible it is being rejected or ghosted, or, bringing humor to that, I found therapeutic. And audiences liked it. So it was nice.
But you, as you were in sales for quite a long time, and you still are, basically, you did manage rejections, bad calls, people that are not polite, hanging up the phone. You all felt it.
Yeah, I've had doors slammed in my face, people swearing at my face. I've had every form of rejection. When you knocking doors, door-to-door selling, is the hardest form of selling.
Tell me a story from that period.
Oh, that was... I started off doing kitchen sales, retail sales. That's easy. People come to you. You're not, people walk in,
inbound, basically.
You help them. That's nice. Mm-hmm. They know what they want. You just build rapport. Going and knocking on people's doors on the streets is the hardest. As an introvert especially, I remember the sales manager who took me out the first time. He said, we go to 3 pubs during the day. We have 2-3 drinks each time, a few shots of vodka, and that gives us the confidence to go and knock the doors. Now, I'm not the best drinker, you know this.
You're doing good.
Nah. I couldn't handle it back then. So I really couldn't do that. But it was amazing what people had to do to get past the challenge that was door-to-door sales. You almost numb your brain to the rejection. You get so used to it. It's like, I know 9 out of 10 times this door's going to reject me. So you knock, you're ready for the rejection, but you're trying to find any sign of an opportunity. And out of 100 doors, 2, 3, 4 are interested. And they'll talk to you and they'll be nice to you.
What were you selling?
I started off selling like TV, like Sky TV packages in the UK. So most people not interested. And then I think one campaign, my manager said, the best time is dinner time. Go in the evening between 7, 8, 9 p.m. while people are eating their dinner. You did have more conversations, but you had worse rejections. You interrupt someone's dinner with their family, they're not happy.
They're not happy, yeah.
I think I did it for maybe a year, and it was tough. And that was when I kind of thought, I don't want to do this long term.
But it was, as you described it, it sounds like a drunken sales.
I didn't drink, but a lot of people did, and I can understand why.
But did it make them more successful or not? Or they just didn't remember?
I mean, the results were the same. You don't have to drink to get results.
Yeah, of course.
You're going to get the same rejections. You probably just enjoy it more. It's probably a little bit more bearable than going in completely sober and having people shout at you, and it's not pleasant. But I'm so glad I did it. And if we look now, how many salespeople, young salespeople, come into sales? Worse, they work from home. All their training's done through Zoom videos, online courses. They're having Zoom meetings. That's not a great way to learn sales. So I think everyone should go and knock some doors. I think everyone should go into a sales office, surrounded by salespeople, the energy, the bells ringing, the music playing, the celebrations, that experience for me is worth its weight in gold.
The swearing, the frustration, everything, the positive and the negative, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah. Having your peers challenge you in person, that I was very grateful to experience. And I do think it's something that we're missing a lot of. And it's scary because a lot of people want to work from home. I just don't think it's sustainable.
It's the sales for introverts.
Yeah. But it's the sales for introverts who don't want to change. They just want to stay scared. So it's
stay scared and they don't want challenges.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Then you need challenges.
Yeah.
As much as they're horrible and hard.
And when you would need to compare the door-to-door sales versus cold calling sales, which is worse? I mean, which is harder?
Door-to-door. Cold calling was a luxury. After doing a year of door-to-door, when I got my first office job, and it was like, you're going to make cold calls, I'm sat at a nice desk, comfy chair. Now, granted, still tough. I was given the worst data. The amount of people you'd phone and no, that person passed away last year or 2 years ago. Or it still comes with its challenges, but it was a lot easier because I'd done that. Had I just started with cold calling, it probably would have been just as challenging.
Did you have some kind of opener that you're proud of that was just yours? Or you were using the script or something they taught you?
I never had a script. I was never given a script.
That's good. What do you mean? What do you think about scripts? Is it good or bad? Is it limiting or is it good for somebody who is just a first timer?
I think it depends on who you're teaching. I think for some people, having that structure is really helpful. But over-dependence on a script is really damaging. I personally like to have bullet points. So I just like to know, what do I need to talk about? What questions are good to ask? What are some of the key ways I can overcome common objections? And what outcome do I want? Just core things that I need to remind myself, because sometimes you get lost in the conversation. Sometimes you don't know or you can't expect what they're going to say. So having some form of guidance is helpful. But becoming too scripted becomes robotic and people zone out and, it's not ideal.
So what was your opener, if you can remember?
I don't think I can remember any specific. I wasn't trying to play a game with it. It was just, this is what I want to talk to you about. Do you have a couple of minutes just to talk about it? I remember my openers were always focused on what I believed I could help them with. It wasn't what I was selling. It was, I think I can help you with this. I think you match the type of criteria. If you've got a couple of minutes, can we just talk about it? But I'm a friendly person. I'm not intense. I'm not in your face. I'm not too shy either. I'm not really quiet, or I'm not confident in myself, but I was confident I knew I could help people. So I think that carried me through, that I didn't have to play too many games around quirky openers. I mean, we see it now. It's hi, this is Dan. You're going to hate this, but this is a cold call. You can hang up, or if you give me 30 seconds, I'm going to tell you why. That's fun, but already you see people and they're like, no, I'm out.
Yeah. Actually, it works in this region.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's new.
Yes, all right.
You know it for the last 10 years, and I've seen a lot of cold calls being done by your colleagues from UK.
Mm-hmm.
But at the moment, it's actually
perfect,
booming here.
Well, that's a really good thing to learn from it. Like new techniques and strategies, great at the start, maximize them, and then be ready to adapt to the next. And I don't know what the next thing is for cold calling. I think those tactics are dying in like UK, US, where sales is done on a mega scale. But I also see people wanting to speak on the phone more. And I think maybe we'll go back to the old style of just being honest. Just people want to talk.
Yeah.
They're bored of
people
Zooms.
Actually want to talk.
Yeah, they're bored of messages and emails.
Yeah.
So I think actually it doesn't have to be the whole 30 seconds, just let's have a chat.
What do you think about AI taking over cold calling?
I haven't had have you had a call from an AI person yet?
Yeah, a couple of times.
What was it like?
Once I didn't even realize it was AI for at least 30 seconds.
Wow.
It's very, very good.
I guess it depends how advanced. If I couldn't tell it was AI, then there's definitely a lot of opportunity there. If they can take out the human error and learn, I mean, AI has the power to do what we do times a million. See it on LinkedIn, see it on emails. So if it could be smooth in talking and not sound like it's AI, then that would be interesting. But I think what's more interesting to think about is what will we do to counter it? In not sales, I mean in buyers and consumers. Will it come to because what was it in the olden days? I never experienced this, but I've seen TV on it, like the auto dialers. Mm-hmm. And it would just be a recorded message, they would just dial in, and they got banned quite quickly. And I think if we go heavy on AI, it'd just get banned.
You think, huh?
Yeah.
Interesting. I wasn't thinking about that. But yeah, now when you're telling it, actually might happen. That maybe not banned fully, but limited. Maybe in a way.
I think in like the UK, it could be banned. I think they get quite strict on things like that. And I think it would then, which would be good for salespeople, because I think it would go back that you would have to qualify in some capacity before you then had that conversation. But
Because if we go just back to IVRs, so intelligent voice recognition, that's actually directing your call to the special sector, that's actually annoying.
Yeah.
Because you don't get to talk to the right person. So if that's annoying and everybody wants to talk to the person, to somebody,
Yeah.
I guess we're coming back to the basics.
But does it matter if it did get you there quicker? Do you care who you talk to if your problem is solved? So I would be happy speaking to AI if it's going to solve my problem quicker. And sometimes people do draw out the process. So if I know, it's like sometimes like the online chat, when you're on a website, you're trying to, I don't know, ask a question to a company about your TV or something, and the online AI chats are getting quite good now. What I don't like is when they create more problems. They're asking you questions that don't make sense, and then a person is going to be a lot better at that. But how long before an AI bot is actually going to be like, I've analyzed all this data, I've analyzed your website, I've looked at, you filled in a form, these are the solutions. Great. I think we've become quite digital buying people. Like, we all spend quite a lot of money now. I'll book a holiday without talking to anyone. So
that's kind of natural.
But it wasn't at first, was it?
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
In fact, I tried 2 years ago. Me and my wife went into a travel agent's because we were struggling to find what we were looking for. They couldn't help. Physically couldn't help. We spent half an hour in there. They couldn't solve the challenge we had. And eventually I found what we were looking for. It took a while. But I think technology does have its potential advantages. It just has to become streamlined. But AI is learning so fast, I don't think it's far away. And I wouldn't be against, if I was receiving a cold call, do I care if it's a salesperson or AI? Question is, who do you trust more? I think I might trust AI more than a salesperson.
Exactly. You think it cannot lie? What if it's trained to lie?
That will be the tipping point.
Huh?
If people get bad experiences with AI, then the whole thing falls apart. But if people use it in a way with integrity, then salespeople fall apart. So it's the moment AI becomes manipulative, the trust goes.
Do salespeople normally lie? I've asked this question many people.
I think it depends on the person. I think a lot of salespeople do lie. And I don't know whether introversion and extroversion comes into it. I can't lie. I couldn't sell something to someone who wasn't going to benefit from it. I want my customer to benefit more than I benefit. That's like my conscience being clean. I feel better. That's why I love selling, because I can help people. Great. But I have met, worked, and managed with plenty of salespeople that just outright lie to get the sale, that will say anything you want to hear, that will make up. I've listened to cold calls of people making up stuff. Our product doesn't do that. Why are you saying that? Because they want to get the sale. What happens? It doesn't deliver. They get cancelled. You lose your commission. We get bad reviews. It's why people go down. But I see it as a natural. People are just like that. So I think the problem is it comes down to hiring. Companies are hiring the wrong people into sales.
So, okay, you went door to door. You went cold calling. You tried all that. You were creating kitchens, and then?
So cold calling was when I left retail, went into B2B. That was where the cold calling came in. I was very good. I was the best cold caller in every company I worked at.
You can imagine that.
Huh?
I can imagine that.
Can or can't?
I can.
I can't imagine that. I was good, I promise you. And I loved it. And then I became a sales manager, head of sales, regional sales director, all the way up to head of sales. And started managing sales teams, 10, 20, 100, 300. And that was the core part of my B2B sales experience. And that's a journey that, again, you learn a lot. Going from a salesperson to a sales leader, two very different things.
Yeah, I know. What's the biggest difference?
Managing people. Managing people is hard.
What do you think about the phrase, the best salesman is not usually the best leader?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah?
I've written about this on LinkedIn. I once lost a job as a sales manager. So I was trying to apply to be a sales manager of this team. And I lost the job, but they offered me deputy instead. because the person who they hired had 20 years extra experience than I had. They were older, more experienced. So I was, okay, I can accept that decision based on logic. They were the worst sales leader I had ever experienced. They were a great salesperson. And that's what they'd spent all their career as an account manager. They were not a good leader. And they lasted 3 months before they left, and then I took over. But a lot of damage was done in that time. But that was the first time I really saw how, as a salesperson, amazing. I'm not trying to be negative about that person. They were a phenomenal salesperson. But those skills don't transfer naturally to becoming a people leader.
Yeah, somehow you become a salesman for everybody underneath you.
Yeah.
You try to sell for everybody instead of lead them or teach them how to sell.
But you're dealing with personal problems. You're dealing with hiring, firing, teaching, coaching, motivating. That's hard to do for yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Doing it for 5 people, 10 people, 50 people. You're a parent. And parenting's hard.
Yeah, it is. It is. You're a parent to your team in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the toughest part for you? Do you remember some situation or something?
Firing people. One of the jobs I joined as a salesperson with someone else. I didn't know this person. We became best friends. We worked together, sold together, spent our lunch breaks together. Really, really great person. Then I got promoted, became their manager. Their performance then dropped. Managing a friend is hard. So
I know.
that transition, hard. You try and help and support them. There were various reasons in their life where they went off on a different track. Firing them was the hardest thing I've experienced in my corporate life. There were tears. It was not a pleasant experience. We didn't speak for 5 years after that. Now we've made up and understood what had happened in that time. But firing anyone is horrible. Even if you know it's the right thing or they deserve it, it's still a horrible thing to do to someone. And I try hard to avoid that in, helping them be better or trying to hire the right people for the job. But it's when you're early as a sales leader, sometimes you don't have that experience of who is right for the job, who makes a good sales. I mean, salespeople are great interviewers.
They sell themselves.
They do, and they're so good at it.
Yeah.
The worst I ever saw, someone came in for an interview. I came out, that was the best interview ever. They're the most amazing salespeople. I can't wait to see them. They came in for their first day, scared to pick up the phone. Completely different person to the interview. And it's like, okay, you learn some lessons that way.
It's so scary, the phone, sometimes.
It is.
But nowadays, when I come to think of it, it's kind of, okay, how hard can it be? I mean, the question I learned over the years is the best question for me, at least. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
I mean, you already have a no if you don't pick up the phone.
Yeah.
You can just confirm the no.
Yeah. And you take that. I think the problem is, and it comes down to sales managers, we put all these pressures on our sales teams. You have to make this many calls. You have to get this many email addresses. You have to make this much money. It's numbers, numbers, numbers. So when you're wearing that weight on your shoulder and you're making calls, that's what you're thinking. And that's not positive thinking.
That's not motivation.
So when you take that away, I'm just going to talk to you. Maybe I can help you. Maybe I can't. If I can't help you, maybe you know someone I can help. It's just a conversation. That's the mindset to go into cold calling. But the problem is we hire salespeople, we give them scripts, all these tools to use, all this training, all this knowledge to have, and outcomes they need to get. It's not an organic way to talk.
So when you would have to answer the question, what do you think about KPIs, key performance indicators, about when it comes to cold calling? What would you say? What would be the most important KPI when it comes to cold calling?
How many people you've helped that day, or how many conversations you've had.
Okay.
Those are the KPIs I learned. That's not how I started. That was a learned experience, but that shifted my mindset. And as soon as you implement it with your team, it shifts their mindset. Instead of every conversation, like you'd have your Monday morning meeting, instead of it being numbers and numbers and numbers, it's who have you helped? Tell me a story. What was a good conversation you had? How many conversations did it take to get there? You just shift the mindset, and any team meeting motivation that you want to bring is about taking as much of that weight off as possible. And that's not easy. As a leadership quality, that's not an easy thing to have. I've experienced a lot of sales leaders that they carry that weight and they pass it on to their team. Oh, the sales director's not happy. The CEO's not happy. Numbers are down. What are we going to do? What are you going to do? If we don't hit our numbers, I can't protect your jobs. I can't guarantee.
That's not motivating.
That's not motivating. That's the opposite.
They're just scaring people.
Yeah, but that's what a lot of people are experiencing.
Yeah.
And so again, you climb the ladder to the top. Who's ultimately responsible? The CEO, the managing director. I think we need to really relook at how a lot of companies, who they hire, how they hire, and how they support. The flip side of that, sales managers often get the least amount of support. Companies will provide and spend tons of money on sales training, nothing usually on sales manager training or support.
It's true. It's true, and it's actually this middle management position. It's the hardest, toughest position in any corporation.
Yeah.
I've been on a couple of those, and it's really because at one point you're getting pushed by the people above you, and you're getting played by the people below you, and it's constant managing with those two pressures. So it is the toughest, definitely.
And then when we have a transition with like social selling as an example, we go from cold calling, which is actually quite easy to measure and manage. This many calls, this many conversations equals this. It's quite, so you can have KPIs as a guideline. It's so hard to do that with social selling. And you're now telling your sales team to create content and build a personal brand. And okay, the messaging can be measured a bit easier. Send this many messages, blah, blah, blah. But it just makes it harder to lead, especially because a lot of the sales managers probably weren't brought up in the social media generation. So they don't always understand it the same way.
They look at it differently. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with that. When it comes to KPIs, we'll go back to social selling. Definitely, that's our main goal today. But I want to stick a little bit more on cold calling because it's kind of a big thing still here in the region. And many people say that it doesn't work, blah, 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 blah. But actually it still works if you do it properly. The thing is, what do you think about the KPI, the number of calls? Is it good, bad, motivating, demotivating?
I'm an outcome person. So I don't mind how many calls you make as long as you get to an outcome. But you also have to accept some days you could make 100 calls and have no outcome. That's sales. Some days are like that, but I would rather focus on how many conversations you want to have or how many leads you want to generate. It doesn't matter how many calls you do to get there. I think the key is to find people that are self-motivated because I compete with myself. So if you tell me, Dan, you need to have 5 conversations or generate 5 leads today, it doesn't matter how many calls you make, how many you have to make. Let's say I get there after 20 calls and I'm done by lunchtime. I'm not going to stop. But some people do. It doesn't matter if they ultimately hit target, but I do feel that obviously the best salespeople are the one that stop when they're happy. They set their own targets, they set their own goals. If they hit their target, how much can they overachieve by? Those are your sales gems. They're the people that go the furthest in sales. And I guess the reality is you want some of those. You want the bulk of your team just to be consistent enough to hit those numbers. But I definitely have always found shifting from number of calls to conversations or opportunities to be the better one. And for some people, it's motivating. If you get there before an hour early, 2 hours early, you can finish early. If that's their motivation and they hit their number, does it matter?
Yeah, but that's what's in my head, at least. It is completely wrong with the numbers. If you have the number, then you have an ending. If you don't have a number, then you're actually open to do whatever it takes to be done.
But for some people, especially if they need help or support or structure, those numbers can be helpful. So if they're struggling or if they're new, maybe just guiding them to, but word it differently. Just, Some days it might take you 50 calls. Sometimes it might take you 60, 70. It depends on who you're speaking to that day.
I remember one KPI that I was really fond of. I was working in retail. In order to go to my position, which was the regional sales manager, I had to go through all the steps in the shop. So at one point I was sitting at a cash desk scanning
Love that.
articles. So up until I didn't manage to scan 32 articles in a minute overall during the day, I couldn't move forward.
Yeah.
So at the beginning I was very slow. I was clumsy. It was under 20. Then I reached 32, but then I wanted to see how fast I can actually go. So I reached 64 at one point.
Wow.
It was crazy. I mean, the customers hated me because I was scanning like, I had my own target. So that's crazy.
But
KPI.
understanding the wider business, I think some of the best KPIs that should be pushed more are customer satisfaction, referrals and renewals and expansion of existing customers. Those are the things, testimonials. I think happy customers need to be the biggest target.
But is it easier to get happy customers when you're doing social selling comparing to, let's say, cold calling?
Not necessarily. Sales is the same. The only advantage or difference is that with social selling, as an example, I feel like you're able to build deeper relationships.
Okay.
Because if you are sharing your journey, if you're sharing more of you can, and I personally share more depth on social media. So you've seen pictures of my wife and my kids, and I'll talk about our vacations. I'll talk about what I did at the weekend sometimes. You don't always get to do that consistently over the phone because you might only be able to speak to your customer once a month, once every few months. Whereas with social media, you're posting every day. They might be hearing from you more consistently than on the phone. But the core principle is the same. You can build deep relationships on the phone, in person. I will add, in person is 100 times better than phone, social, everything.
But that's always the goal of social selling and cold calling, is to get in touch in person in the end.
It used to be, but now everything's so digital. People almost, I think there's less in person than there used to be.
I mean, in person through a video call, for example, that could be...
I think that's a level up.
Yeah.
In person like this is the ultimate goal. I experience it every year, this year, every time. When you meet a customer or a prospect in person, you build 100 times a deeper relationship that can last so much longer than digital ones. And it's not that digital doesn't work. I just feel that physically in person is the ultimate goal in sales.
I was doing a little research of my own, and I realized that everything is getting faster and faster and faster. The automatization, AI helping us to do all these kind of things that we weren't able to do before. Then again, I remember cold calling, where actually when you were searching for a salesperson, you kind of wanted that person to be extroverted. But now it seems that introverts are getting their time to actually be a very good salesman, because social selling is actually made for introverts.
Yeah.
Huh?
Think of it from the buyer's psychology. No one wants to be sold to. We don't like salespeople. I'm a salesperson. I don't want to be sold to. I say this, if I go into a shop and a salesperson starts walking up to me, I'm walking the other way. I don't want to be sold to. No one does. No one wants to be manipulated or pressured or, pushed on. So we've gone through this time where that's what sales was. Cold calls interrupting you, emails trying to sell you, physical conversations where they're just trying to pressure you into buying something. So as buyers, we've almost become introverted. We don't want that. We're so scared and cautious. We've all been sold something we didn't want or need. And that experience creates fear of being sold something that you're going to regret buying. Sometimes it's your own fault for buying something stupid, don't get me wrong. But sometimes it's because the salesperson has pressured you into it. So it's the two paired up. And that's why I think social selling and this whole digital sales environment has become successful, because it's both are catered for. The buyer can take their time. They can consume, they can learn, they can do their own research. The salesperson doesn't have to put pressure on. They can be more introverted and just trying to give value and softly building relationships. And then when the time is right, the pair come together. That's nice. But trust me, cold calling still works. You might not be aware of a problem you have. And as a salesperson, if I can help you identify that, that's powerful. Social selling's not always great at doing that. You can create content and stuff. Doesn't mean you're always going to make me aware of a problem I have or how it could be improved. That comes down to proper conversations. So I think it's a wave that we've gone through where I think we're now, going to head back to the more traditional form of people wanting to talk, because what we have on social media now are the bad salespeople.
Mm. Yeah, I have to agree with you. Because there is a lot of talk about AI will take over. There is no future for salespeople, stuff like that. But I agree with you. It kind of feels like we did the whole circle.
Yeah.
We tried all the touch points, and now we're going back to basics in a way.
I think credibility is what people want, whether it's on the phone, in person, on social media. The problem with social media is you can say whatever you want. You can claim to be whatever you want. And we're now getting extroverts dominating social media who sometimes fall in the trap of making stuff up, making claims up, putting pressure on. And that is a turn off for people. No one wants that. Because that's how you end up buying something from someone who maybe isn't credible.
What was the most expensive thing you bought and you didn't need that was sold to you?
I'm not saying it was, just the first thing that came to mind was one of those, like the ring lights that influencers use, and you put I spent hundreds of pounds on one because I thought it was going to make my videos the best things ever. And I think maybe if you are, doing beauty videos, then maybe it's really beneficial. But in my office, where I try
doing beauty videos.
If I ever do beauty videos, you can call me up. That's not the route I need to go down. But when you want a studio set up like this, it's not the way to go. So I used it once, and then I think it still is in my garage, just sitting there,
Did you consider selling it?
Yeah, just don't have the time.
That's an excuse.
That is an excuse. It is an excuse. And I could and should. But that was one of those things where it was like someone on a video made it look like it was going to make my videos amazing.
Yeah.
And, it didn't quite translate. But I don't know. I think it's even harder when you've worked in sales to talk to salespeople because and that sales, if you know someone's trying to sell you something, it just becomes so transparent. And that's why I think that's what's helped me be successful in sales is I'm not trying to sell something. And I don't know if you've ever noticed this. I've never really sold my books.
I noticed.
They sell because I give value and I've built a brand, etc. But I remember one of my sons came up to me and he was, Daddy, how do you sell your books? And I was like, why? I don't sell them. People buy them. And I never want to be trying to persuade you to buy my book. I might say, this can help you if you're looking. It's like when people say, why should I use LinkedIn? If your customers are on LinkedIn, you should be using it. If your customers aren't on LinkedIn, don't use it. That whole trying to sell someone something, it's the same thing as sell me the pen. Everyone, sell me this pen. Look at this pen, it's amazing. It's got something that you can use as a stylus. I'm just describing the pen. You and I know what do you use pens for at the moment? What pen have you currently got? I'm not going to do the Wolf of Wall Street film always makes me laugh because he kind of does that. Give me the pen. Oh, can you sign something? I don't have a pen. But that's not how life works. But, it's funny. To sell the pen, I need to understand what you need from a pen. Maybe this is the pen for you. Maybe it's not. When I separate myself from the pressure of having to sell you this pen, I'm more likely to help you find out whether this is the right pen for you. That's what we're scared of. And the problem is, still, you ask 99% of people to sell you the pen, and they will do just that. This is an amazing pen. It does all these amazing things. You love this pen. It's a bargain. It's cheap. It's premium. That's not what sales is.
It's mine.
it's yours. You can have the pen back for 10 euros.
Of course, I was waiting for that. Yeah. No, the thing about all these strategies and how to sell something, how to push people into buying something, I completely agree with you. I think it's kind of passé. It's history.
Yeah.
Don't want to do it anymore. And I would agree with you that actually the most successful sales people at the moment are those that are actually not selling.
Yeah.
Just talking to you, understanding what you actually want, just giving you a solution in case you want it.
Here's the challenge, and it's a big challenge. Mm-hmm. It's a scale. And we started off too far in the salespeople being your snake oil, car salespeople, pressuring. We've now gone too soft. Mm-hmm. And now everyone's too scared to sell, too scared to ask questions, too scared to pick up the phone and have conversations. It's too soft. We need to find that sweet spot in the middle where we are respectful, we ask questions, but we're not scared to move things along. I might have to sell you that pen. That might be my goal. And I might know deep down that pen is going to be a benefit for you. So I need to be confident to try and help you get to that same viewpoint. But you might not see it straight away. Now, if I'm too soft, then I'm just going to say, okay, bye, see you later, no worries. And if we keep doing that, we're never going to sell anything. Mm-hmm. So it's a scale that you have to balance out. And I think if you can reach that bit in the middle where you're confident enough that I want to help you solve a problem, I think I can help you, but I'm going to respect you. I'm not trying to, if it's not the right fit, then I will help you find a better option. That sort of mutually respectful, and this is a bit, you can take snippets from all the different methodologies, but that's what I liked about Sandler training, was it was leveling the playing field. Mm-hmm. A lot of salespeople come into sales and it's, you're down here and the customer is there and you're so desperate to win their business. They're the ruler with the money. And actually, what you're offering is going to help them sometimes even more than they're going to be paying for it. So when you level that playing field, sales becomes a much more natural thing.
It becomes a conversation.
It does.
In a way. We mentioned your books.
Yes.
I'll go to that way. You wrote so far 4 books. I want to ask you one question. I always wanted to ask you that one. Yeah. So most of your books all of them for now are focused on social selling or let's say LinkedIn. LinkedIn, yeah. How does it translate? The first one was, we have it here, the million pound LinkedIn message. Was it 3 years ago? 4 years ago?
No, that was 2018, 19?
So 7 years ago.
Something like that, yeah.
So, okay. Do you find it still useful knowing that things changed so much?
Yes, there is like sales. There are core fundamentals that will never change. There are things I wrote in that book that are just as relevant and valuable now. Absolutely, there's loads of new things now. LinkedIn as a platform changes. In that book, video messaging wasn't a thing. Mm-hmm. Now it is, hence why I've written another book about that. But there are still core principles around personalization and doing your research and structure and stuff like that that still completely relevant. Not saying it's necessarily as relevant, but I would say it's still 75, 80% relevant to what it was. But the platforms evolve, and that's why you keep publishing books and new tips and things like that. I don't think there'll be a time it won't be relevant because written messages are always going to be a thing. So in that sense, this book specifically focuses on written LinkedIn messages. There is nothing that I think will fundamentally change in how you should be approaching that.
Mm-hmm. And you also told me that you're thinking of a next book, the 5th one, and it's going to be a real sales book. What do you mean by that?
So sales is...
Announce it.
This is like first announcement. Sales is my passion. I'm sales through and through. I love sales. I'll always remember, and I'll tell you off screen who this person was because you know this person. Before I went self-employed, before I took the plunge, I was still in my office thinking about what to do. And I wanted to become a sales trainer. Not a LinkedIn trainer, not a social selling trainer. I wanted to be a sales trainer. And I had all these ideas, and I spoke to this person someone who was really credible, way ahead of me in the industry. And I shared that I want to be a sales trainer. And they said, Dan, I'm going to be honest with you. If I'm a company and I'm looking for a sales trainer, you're 50th, 60th, 70th on the list of people I would consider hiring. But if I'm hiring a LinkedIn trainer, top of the list. And that was true. Brutal, but true. And I loved that advice. That was super. I mean, I think I can quit.
I think I know who it is.
You probably do.
Yeah.
Hugely impactful. And so that was why it's kind of that, you don't want to be the jack of all trades, master of none. You want to focus on something. I think LinkedIn was the right thing to focus on. And I think still the majority of companies have no idea how to use LinkedIn. So I will ride that wave, but sales is my passion. I love helping and inspiring salespeople. And so I am working on a sales book that when the time is right, that will be the next evolution of my business and my brand. But I still want to be the go-to person for LinkedIn and social selling because there aren't many people that can compete with what I've achieved on there, what I know of it, what I've still achieve on it. So I want to make sure I ride that wave until it starts to become where every company has its own internal LinkedIn trainer and most people know at least the basics.
Yeah, it's. I'm happy you said that. How focus is actually very, very important because at one point the time came that you had shopping centers where you could buy everything at one place, and now it seems to me that also this is switching back.
Yeah.
That people want to have specialized little store for meat, for sausages, for this, that, and stuff like that, and also it's happening in the training industry.
Yeah. I agree. I buy wine from a specialist wine shop now, whereas before I might have bought it from a supermarket. I'll now look for better, and I want that person to be able to help me. I think it's a nice transition to go back. We all like the new shiny thing. We all like ease and convenience. Even like ordering stuff online. There's only so much you can get on Amazon before you actually need help or you want guidance or support. So yeah, I think we are going back to a more human-based time. And I think AI is accelerating that.
Is it that or are we getting older?
Oh, that could be true.
Or it's us. Maybe it's us. I don't know.
Maybe it is us. I tell you what's interesting. We both have children similar ages. I don't know about your children, but mine surprise me in how anti-digital they are. I thought it would all be 24/7. No, my children are more confident than I ever was at that age in talking to people. And in fact, they'll be the first to pick up the phone and talk to someone rather than text. And I think it's quite eye-opening that maybe it's not what we all assume, that young people are just going to be these digital screen covered. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's down to environment or parenting or whatever, but I definitely don't think it's... So yes, I agree. I'm old. Yes, I'm probably stubborn to these things. And that might be part of my opinions. Yeah. But I do think I'm seeing it in younger people that there isn't this over-reliance on technology. And actually, I think they want human conversations just as much as anyone. Mm.
Yeah, it's a funny transition that's going on. Mm. I agree. Because what I've noticed, that's what I've seen here, that young people don't know how to talk on the phone anymore. And it's, I don't know, it's at least what I see in Croatia.
Yeah. I think phone conversations are different. I remember going through phone training, both in customer service as well as in sales. I do think that's a trained skill. I do not think anyone is born to be a confident telephone caller. I do think you need to have some form of education on that. But I think in terms of confidence of having conversations, I think that's quite natural. Mm-hmm. And I see it in myself. It surprises me. They're amazing at having conversations. It comes so natural to them. Do I think they could pick up the phone and be a salesperson straight away? No, they need training and guidance on that. But neither of them are scared of the phone.
What I've noticed as well is, as much as they might not know to speak on the phone the same as we do, at least here in the region, this is my experience, they are much more open when it comes to public speaking. So when they stand in front of the crowd, it's kind of natural for them to... I mean, maybe there's the schooling system that changed, because before it was more and more focused on learning as it is, not presenting. But nowadays I see more and more kids just having that. It's kind of normal. I stand in front of the class, I give you my speech.
Yeah, I think there's a good and a bad to that. And it ties into what we talked about prior to recording around influencers and this aspiration to be an influencer. I agree. I see, especially in one of my children, more confidence in speaking. The problem is they have nothing good to speak about. As in, they'll talk about anything as if they know it, but there's no depth. And that's the challenge. And I think we see it in a lot of influencers. And this goes back to what I was talking about, influencers coming and going on the platform. It's very easy to capture someone's attention by sharing photos and being confident and, you know, making claims that might seem impressive. But if there's no depth or reality or consistency, people then switch off. So I think it's absolutely a credible skill to be. Most people are scared of getting on stage and talk. That's not an easy thing to do. So if you're comfortable to share, that's a skill. Great. You still need to work hard. I get to do what I do because I knocked those doors. I made those calls. I went through all forms of rejection and experience. That's why I get to do what I do now. If I've just started in sales and I want to pretend to be, you don't have the experience yet, doesn't mean you're not valuable. There is value there, but what I see is a lot of younger people wanting to be this and forgetting they need to do wanting to be at the top of the mountain, not wanting to climb to the top of the mountain. They just want to be there. And that's the allure of being an influencer. Oh, these people, they just get to live this glamorous life and fly around. Oh, it's so amazing.
Because we only post photos of nice things.
Yeah. And this is where we get that reality TV trap where people, you know, the shortcut is reality TV. Go on a reality TV show. But what happens? They go on the show, they're famous for a year, and then they disappear. Because what else have they got to offer?
Yeah, limited.
Yeah.
So, but coming back to being a speaker, so you said, let's say roughly 9 years ago, you stood on the stage for the first time, 9 years ago, and you threw up 2 times before it. Now you're a natural. But let me ask you, you flew also to USA to speak?
US? Every year.
Every year. What was the biggest amount of people you were speaking in front?
It was at the Wolf Strikes Back. We had, 800, 900 people there in person.
Yeah.
In the US, similar numbers, 600, 700. I've spoken to thousands virtually. But I would be happy if there were 10,000, 100,000 people.
That's always the question people usually ask me. Is it any different?
I don't. Do you think it's different?
No, I don't. But people ask me, no, 10, 15 people, it's okay. But we imagine 10,000. What's the difference?
I think the only thing I challenge myself on now is how can I engage as much of that audience as possible? So whilst I have the confidence to say whatever you want in front of those people, I want to make sure I impact as many of those people. And that's a challenge. But that's not like a fear. That's just what can I say or bring to the table to make them laugh or get them to think about something differently. And I like that challenge. So when you're preparing a talk, that's what I find interesting. But yeah, I don't see it being any different. Although if you had said that back in 2017, Dan, is it different? Yeah, it probably was different back then. I would have been scared to speak in front of any audience.
But do you always use humor or in every of your speeches?
I think so.
Yeah?
And I've had a fair amount of pushback. I've worked with companies and you're teaching them or you're talking in front and they'll come up and say, we sell to the C-suite, we sell to CEOs, CFOs. They don't like humor. I was like, they do. Everyone has a sense of humor.
Still people, come
They're
on.
still humans.
Yeah.
Okay, I might not be as silly, like you can change the tone a bit, but everyone has a sense of humor. So I always use humor. I think it's, I don't know, I say like a defense mechanism. It's something I find bridges that gap.
But the funny thing is, I have some jokes that are always funny to me, but not to the audience. So I like to make myself laugh.
You sent me some of those videos, and there is humor that like
Make myself happy, but nobody gets it, so I'm okay. Do you have those jokes as well?
I have the worst sense of humor. And this,
Share it.
Everyone, I will not share it. That's a guaranteed way.
I know it. So I want you to share it.
I will just share that, as dark a sense of humor as you could have, I find the worst things funny. But we were talking about Ricky Gervais. That's kind of the darkest sense. There's jokes, but it's funny, and he's not offensive about it. He's not trying to offend anyone. He's just making light of topical conversations. I like that. I think it's fun to talk about controversial things and look at the humor within it. I am respectful of everyone. I've got nothing but love for everyone, but I think humor is a great way to bridge the gaps of what people take seriously. And that's what I think I liked about creating humor for sales, is everyone takes sales seriously. And it's nice to just make fun of customers and salespeople, and just bridge the gap of we're just humans. Let's have fun with this. But yeah, my humor goes to
What's the best meme you ever did? What was the one that really caught the eye of everybody?
Well, there's two. There's my first meme, which was the scene from Dumb and Dumber, which is, it's the caption where he's like, she's like, oh, if everyone, was dead on the world, I still wouldn't sleep with you. And he's like, so you're telling me there's a chance?
There is a chance.
And then I put it as when a customer says to a salesperson, give me a call back in 12 months. And so you're saying there's a chance? Yes!
Yeah.
And the amount of salespeople that are like, yeah, they're interested. They're really not interested.
I know those kind of salespeople. Positivity in everything.
We've all been there. We've all been there. And that was the first meme I ever created. I have the softest spot for that because that was what created everything I did. And that went low viral back then, but I love that meme. The one that has been the biggest meme I've ever shared was, it's the Anchorman clip where Ron Burgundy's like, well, that escalated fast. And the caption was, when you connect with someone on LinkedIn and then a sales pitch appears within 2 seconds, and it's like, oh, that escalated quickly. That one did, 3 million impressions on its own. It's the most engaged piece of content I've had on LinkedIn in itself.
Because it's so true.
It is true. We all connect with it. The salespeople that do that, it's silly. You shouldn't do it. Make fun about it, learn from it, avoid it. But it's fun to have a laugh about it. Instead of, you sometimes see people moaning on, oh, they shouldn't do this. Oh, negative, negative, negative. No one's going to listen or learn from that. Let's have some fun with it. And then, we can learn together.
You also, by the chance of all of this happening, what you did, you became an influencer.
Mm-hmm.
Could you live only from that today?
Yes.
Yeah?
As only a B2B influencer, yeah. And I think that's very new. B2C influencers, very easy to live a life as a B2C influencer. I think 2025 has been the year where B2B influencer marketing has grown massively. And you could absolutely be a full-time B2B creator.
So you could normally live only from influencing in UK.
Mm-hmm. And in the US. I don't know so much about Europe yet, but UK, US markets, especially on social media, are thriving, and you could absolutely live a very, very comfortable life as a B2B influencer. It's not easy. It's hard.
What's the hardest part?
3 things. 1, keeping your audience engaged. When you try and sell or promote something, people switch off. They want the free stuff. They want the memes. They want the funny. They want the entertainment. So when you're like, here, use this tool, I say it's great. No one's interested. So creating content that sells something is challenge 1. Mm-hmm. Challenge 2 is finding customers and building relationships with them. Knowing what to charge, knowing, the process. Sometimes companies will want more from you, like affiliate marketing. You'll get plenty of companies that will be like, oh, we'll give you X percentage of whatever you sell, but we're not going to pay for the post. People don't buy that quickly, not in B2B especially. So there's a lot of learnings from that. The third thing is the adapting and constantly changing. It's, if you want to have a career, you have to be able to adapt to the constant changing landscape. If I don't adapt to LinkedIn's change and my impressions drop, then that value of influencer cost drops as well. So it's a hard game to keep going through. But it can be very rewarding. And like right now, we've got B2B influencer marketplaces, platforms that companies can go on. We've got a software product. We want to launch it in the UK. Who are the top UK influencers? Great. What's their audience? What's their fee? Done. And it's evolving very quickly. Now they can measure the posts, they can measure the engagement, they can track it. We're starting to get early estimates of what a post would be worth. So you can say, I've got 10,000 followers, maybe a post is worth £500. Great. Other things to measure are engagement rates, because I could have 100,000 followers, but not get much engagement. So the followers aren't necessarily the key. There's all these things that they're working themselves out, but it's a booming sector right now.
Cool.
And what I've obviously been trying to teach for many years, if you build your brand to sell, an action of that is that you build a brand. So you could be working as a business owner, you could be working as a salesperson. And if you're active on social media and you build an audience and you build your own personal brand, it's beneficial for work. That's how I started off. I used LinkedIn to sell. Now I use LinkedIn to sell, and I also get to benefit from becoming an influencer. And influencer as a term is
Yeah, we're still getting used to it.
Yeah.
Could you separate marketing and sales?
In what way?
Anyway.
I don't think you should ever separate marketing and sales. I think most companies still treat them separately.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah. Oh, they need to be
now
together.
They are more together than ever now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I can't stand it. I managed marketing and sales once, and they hated each other. Couldn't even speak to each other. There was just so much negativity. Oh, marketing are giving us bad leads. Oh, the sales team, they're not calling the leads. Oh, it's just constant back and forth. And as a lead, you need to work. When you work together, that's perfection. I don't know. I think that comes down to KPIs and numbers. And I think that comes down to how people are managed. If you're CEO or whoever's sitting above them, you create that environment. You either create an environment of collaboration or you create an environment of competition.
You mentioned affiliate marketing. What's your view on that? Because I will tell you honestly, I'm not a big fan of that. Actually, the first time I used it and actually make some money out of it was in 2006, 2007. And that was the only time I actually noticed that it could be used. After that, I didn't see anything that could actually occupy my mind enough to actually start using it.
I think it has a place. I think if you're an early influencer with a small growing audience, it's a good place to start. When you're a mid to large influencer, there is too much value given in the post itself, regardless of the outcome. Brand awareness. Companies pay a lot of money to get impressions and reach through sponsored ads. So there is value in your post. That should always be paid for. When you're with a smaller audience and it can be quite up and down, then it's probably better to build some sort of consistency first. In B2B, I think affiliate marketing is very, very hard to be successful for the company and for the creator or influencer. And I don't know, maybe it becomes effective long term, but right now, I get 3 offers. Post only, reduced post fee plus percentage, or pure affiliate percentage.
Would you accept to be an influencer for a product that you don't believe in?
Good question. No. But I think it's such a double-ended sword. You say don't believe in. I mean, what are we talking about there?
I mean that it's immoral, for example, in your system of values.
Yes, I definitely am not going to work. But then, what is an example in B2B of a company that's immoral? I mean, it's...
I don't know. You don't like, for example, latex.
Where did you go to latex?
I don't know.
Of all the things and examples.
Latex. Yeah. Latex suit for men. Now you're imagining it.
I'm now imagining it, yeah. Unfortunately, on you. I mean, we're going down a dangerous path.
Don't do that.
I don't think there are many examples really where you genuinely are not going to believe it. And people try and play the high. I see a lot of people saying, I would never work with a company I don't believe in, as if it's something really amazing about themselves. And it's like, you've probably not even been offered by a company that's questioned it. The bigger question is, would I promote something I don't use? And that's a topic that's happening a lot right now on LinkedIn. Is it okay for a creator to promote something they don't use? And I think it's fine. I think I can promote any company product. I don't have to use it. If I promote products I use, that's the ultimate. That's amazing. If there are tools I genuinely use and I promote, that's the ultimate goal. But I have an audience, and some of them want those products. So if I can find a creative way to connect the dots, great. I have yet to find a company, latex or not, that I don't believe in. And I don't know what would be that moral situation. I've yet to meet a B2B company that's done something that questionable. Because, I don't know, maybe you could say, oh, they laid off lots of staff last year, so why would you promote them? It's just a natural thing. It doesn't mean they're a bad company. A lot of companies go through that process. So I don't know.
I have a couple of few more ending questions, but before that, just one that popped to my mind. You've traveled around quite a lot. You've spoken in many, which was the weirdest one? The let's say, maybe the wrong word, weirdest one, but let's say the one that was challenging your expectations the most. Let me put it like that.
With you on a boat?
With me on a boat. Okay.
More because it was on a boat. It was amazing. Mm-hmm. But as a trainer, trying to teach on a boat that's moving was the most challenging speaking experience I've had. I don't know. I think traveling to South Africa has been amazing, but also very interesting. To the Philippines, very interesting environments. But you still usually end up working in, pretty nice stages, and, the people there are always amazing. So
why I'm asking you this, there is always one question that's kind of intriguing me. Mm-hmm. When you put the sales, generally sales, in the perspective of cultural differences.
Yes.
What's the strangest cultural difference that you've ever experienced when it comes to sales?
Nothing strange. I've become a lot more aware of cultural differences in the last few years than when I started, because it was all so new and traveling. It was just overwhelming in essence. I've become a lot more aware of it. For me, as a social selling trainer, people in different areas use LinkedIn differently. How Croatia uses LinkedIn is different to the UK. Mm-hmm. The US is different. The further you go across the world, it's even more different. Mm-hmm. That's more obvious. Sales as a core stays the same. Mm-hmm. It's just the way you do it. Whether it's the phone here is thriving, whether it's email, whether it's more in person. Those are the subtle differences. But the core stays the same. And that's what I like about it. It all comes down to helping people. Mm-hmm.
Your biggest challenge so far in the business?
Starting a business.
Starting a business.
Starting a business in something that didn't really exist. So when I started this, there weren't LinkedIn trainers and there weren't LinkedIn influencers. So when I approached companies, they didn't know what it would be like to promote posts on LinkedIn or that they needed training on LinkedIn. So coming up with prices and processes and just that whole learning experience was very difficult. It took me 3 years before the whole engine was running smooth. There was a lot of trial and error, having companies not pay you for 6 months, 12 months, going through those type of situations. That's,
And we thought it happens only in Croatia. No, it doesn't.
Oh, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. But it, just like knocking those doors, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I'm grateful for every challenge I go through. I think we briefly talked about this earlier. I'm grateful for the challenges I go through because they make me stronger. As a parent, I don't want my children to go through challenges. I want to protect them from the challenges. But I can also see that, and I know my son used to, when he was really young, didn't want to go to school like most kids do when they're young. And it's so hard as a parent when you know they need to go to school, and you don't want, you want to protect them. That's a hard thing to do, to see your children go through a challenging experience, knowing that it's going to be better for them. But personally, I embrace challenge.
Okay. So you called it a parenting trap.
It is a parenting trap, yeah. It's a paradox. It's right for them. You still want to protect them from everything. I've yet to get comfortable with that scenario. To this date, if I feel like I need to protect them and it's the wrong thing to do, I know the right thing is to push them into that situation, I still am not comfortable with that.
What would be some kind of advice that you would give to, let's say, young generation that is now starting to do online stuff? And that they want to do something from their lives and that they want to do something in business, for example? What would be your advice to them?
Have your focus be to help people. It's not about you, it's not about them, but it's about how you can help people. Now, to help people, you have to have something of value. So that can be experience, it could be your journey, whether you're trying to build a brand, whether you're trying to start a business, whether you're starting a new sales role. Experience, I think, has a lot more value than maybe young people appreciate. I did not appreciate experience when I was younger. I wanted the fast track. I wanted to be a manager straight away. You don't respect experience. And actually, the slog of making loads of calls and knocking doors and having those horrible situations, managing, that experience is worth so much more. So be patient, work hard. Just go out there. Just get to the end of the day and know you've done your best, that you've gone out and experienced new things. You've learned something new. You've pushed yourself into something different. Build that resilience, have that motivation. Those are the things. If I had done that when I was younger, I would be further ahead.
So respect experience.
Yeah.
Short.
Respect experience.
Respect
That's a better
experience.
title.
Yeah. Daniel, before we close this, you've been also a guest on our academy. So you've been teaching our students about social selling. Anything you want to say to the generation that's coming?
Value learning, and the academy is a phenomenal place, constantly updated with amazing new teachers and lessons. Learn as much as you can and use amazing tools like that to become the best version of yourself. There are people who are teaching valuable lessons, sharing that experience, that learned experience. Learn, listen, practice, and master it yourself. But you have to go through places like this. And I think what you've built is phenomenal. So definitely a go-to place.
Thank you. So join us on Sales Mindset Academy, or as we call it, Akademija Prodajni Mindset in Croatian. Daniel, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, as always. I'm looking forward to seeing where the future will take us. Definitely. Maybe to share some stage somewhere on the other side of the world.
Yeah, definitely.
Would love that. And hopefully to see you again next year. And dear viewers and listeners, I hope you enjoyed this special with Daniel Disney. See you in the next episode. Until then,